Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. We're back on the internet together again today. We're talking about, once again, the tobacco black market. It's a phenomenon at the moment that the news, the mainstream media like to talk about. They can't understand. Why is this so out of hand? Let's talk about it. I have a number of clips today, so we'll talk through all of them individually.
More than 70 stores have been issued with closure orders since June as part of the state government crackdown on illegal tobacco and vapes. Tonight we can show you a rare glimpse of raids on SA stores and the millions of dollars in product being seized on the streets.
An unwelcome visit for those peddling illegal tobacco in South Australia.
Good morning. Inspector from Consumer and Business Services.
Raids from Consumer and Business Services resulting in the mass seizure of illicit cigarettes and vapes and temporary closures.
Since the 5th of June and since I've had those closure orders, I've issued 71 closure orders for 28 days and we've taken $4.2 million of product off our streets.
The government today...
Wow, so that's about like 2 hours of trade probably all over the country. 70 businesses shut down for 28 days, 200 more pop up. That's just the cost of doing business for these types. It is astronomical. But you should see in Victoria, they don't even hide now. They don't even hide displaying the cigarettes, the counterfeit cigarettes or the black market cigarettes, whatever you want to call them, in the stores now. I have some local to me. I walk past them and I'm interested. I have a look what's going on in there. They've got them on display cases. Manny's. They've got Manchester's in display cases. Blatantly. They don't give a stuff. Business is just too good for them at the moment.
Releasing footage from inside these businesses, officers discovering box after box of illegal product, often imported by criminal gangs.
We were not targeting consumers. We are targeting the people who control this market.
Since the state...
No, they are targeting consumers. Why are they targeting consumers? Because that's tax money, that's revenue leakage. Why would they even make the effort if it wasn't about that? Think about it. A lot of people, I've made a couple of videos about this in the past. I got a lot of people in the comments saying, I don't want to feel like I'm doing the wrong thing. However, I can't justify going and spending $50 or $60 on a packet of 25s. Or a packet of 20s now are about $40 odd. And they just went up about $3 a packet. We've got this huge war going on. I've got this huge black market, counterfeit cigarette market, all that sort of stuff, illegal trade going on. I wonder why that's happening. You know what we should do? Let's raise the prices of legitimate cigarettes even more. It's absolute mental.
Legislated new powers in June, CBS officers have confiscated more than 3 million cigarettes, 10,500 vapes and a tonne of loose tobacco. The haul making South Australia a nation leader in enforcement.
They are an exemplar of all the states and territories and are certainly one of the leading jurisdictions in the fight against illicit tobacco.
While there's already been millions of illegal vapes and cigarettes seized, the government says products like these are still flooding the market, being peddled by organised crime.
It's not sort of two blokes out the back growing some tobacco, making a buck on the side. This is now serious, violent, organised crime.
Will Lawrence...
Completely preventable. It wouldn't have even existed. People don't want to pay tax. People have had enough of being rorted for tax. 70 or 75% of a packet of the price of a packet of cigarettes in the stores is tax. All I need to do is just take the tax off. It'll probably bring the cigarettes down to maybe $15, $20. But people are now getting too used to buying packets of cigarettes for $8, $10, $12. Wherever they're selling them, for however how much they do vary the prices. If you can buy a carton for $90 or a carton for $400, what are you going to do? Or $500, what are you going to do? You're going to take the counterfeit stuff because you've got a habit. You're going to feed it, and you just can't afford it. You're an addict. You're addicted to it too, or you just love doing it. You can't afford that $2,000 a month on cigarettes, and they can say, "Oh, it's all about health and all that." No, it's just rotting addicts for money. People who are hooked on a substance. I know you're going to buy them. If it was all about health, I'd just ban them. It'll have the same result anyway. You'd have a black market. But what's the difference now?
The latest haul in a war authorities admit they're struggling to win.
The volume is so big and the cost is so low that criminal syndicates will flood the border.
And an admission the illegal tobacco market has exploded around the nation.
The stranglehold that some criminal gangs here in Australia have got over the market to bankroll their other criminal activity.
Yeah, the criminal gangs, that's called the government, who charge or basically extort money out of people. Think about it. It's one organised crime outfit trying to shut down the business of another. That's the way I see it. You cannot put a 75% tax on something and say that is kosher. That is reasonable. Taking the piss now, people are actually going out of their way to not buy them from the supermarkets, even if they can afford them, because they want to give all this money to the government. It's a complete piss take.
Activities.
A stranglehold offering cheap smokes that doctors warn is leading to a rapid rise in smoking rates.
Doctors are seeing more people picking up cigarette smoking because it's easily accessible.
Sentiments.
How are doctors seeing that? Like, how do doctors know? Or they're going walking around and asking people, oh, did you start smoking? Like, what's going on there? Of course, probably people will have it more accessible. They're $8 a packet. But I don't want you guys to think this is all for health. And I will get people in the comments and saying, well, they pay all this money in tax and that's all this money to pay for these smoking-related illnesses. It's not. They use that for other stuff. If there was a one-to-one match, okay, if they put that tax, I think at its peak it was about $16 billion a year. They've leaked out to about $8 or $9 billion a year now. So there's a big drop in revenue. They're not liking it. If $16 billion a year went to Medicare and it went to cover all the people that are going in there with smoking-related or alcohol-related, and just everybody, oh, they'll be all right. I'll be all right with that. I doubt that's happening. The money's being spent other ways.
Echoed on city streets.
I definitely think there has been an increase in recent times. I don't think making something so expensive is the way to reduce smoking.
The government has
Yep, absolutely. So what's happened here? This isn't, people buying these cigarettes are not, undesirable people. I see people lining up out the front of them. You see them packed full of people, those stores. As I said, I live in Melbourne. Close to me, they have a number of them. There are always people in there walking out with darts in black plastic bags. Whatever else is in those stores, they've got the odds and ends in there. They're not really selling any of that. It's just a front for black market tobacco. And if those people who are selling that can make a profit, fine. They're just servicing a market. And what happens if they ban it? I think this horse is bolted. I think people are too used to buying these cigarettes, and even if they drop the packet of cigarettes to half price, it's still going to be too expensive. You want to go from anywhere $8 to $12 a packet of smokes to even $30. You're going to have price resistance. You're not going to want to pay it. I think the horse is bolted. It'll be interesting what they do. Even if they banned cigarettes now, this black market will continue to go. And the thing is too, people say, oh, they're going to come down on them at some point. How can they trade in the open like this? There are just too many stores. They can't. It's like little hamsters or gophers popping out of the ground. You whack one, and another two come up out of different holes. It's a problem that there's more people distributing and selling as retailers these cigarettes than what there are police to even go out and look at all the stores. And what happens? They close one store, another one opens around the corner, next suburb over. Out of control, completely caused by government greed.
Repeatedly raised tobacco taxes as a tool to discourage smoking.
Oh, yeah.
Experts say the high cost is driving the illicit trade.
If you restrict the legal supply of goods for which there's high demand, that creates opportunities for organised crime groups who supply these products.
But despite admitting cheap tobacco has become a major threat to public health, the minister continues to reject suggestions to cut the tobacco excise.
We're not going to have our public health policies dictated by organised crime or by big tobacco.
Some public health advocates agree.
Cigarettes that are illicitly sold are so cheap. You would literally have to get rid of all of the tobacco tax to try and quote unquote compete with that market.
Authorities insist.
Yeah, but they won't do that. I mean, you don't need to be an expert. As I said, don't think it's about health. There's big dollars on the line here.
They're boosting enforcement.
It's going to require a multi-pronged, multi-year, multi-jurisdiction fight.
A long-running fight with no end in sight. Emma Masters, ABC News.
There you go. Anyway, halfway, guys. If you're enjoying the channel, hit us subbing, liking, sharing, pressing that hype button. Let's get the channel out there. Let's get it going. All right.
For cigarettes isn't something you'd expect to hear from the Premier of New South Wales, but that is exactly what Chris Minns is arguing. It's not to encourage smoking, but rather to combat the illegal tobacco trade. The Premier, fed up by the growing nicotine black market, fuelled by Australia's huge excise on legal tobacco.
Yep.
Minns warning police resources may need to be reallocated in order to manage this crisis. For their take, let's bring in founding director of Western Sydney Women, Amanda Rose, and Daily Telegraph journalist James Willis. Good morning to you.
Let's talk about this for a sec. So let's talk about Victoria or Melbourne. I make a lot of videos about Melbourne recently. The police are stretched very far with all the crime. We're having a huge crime spike here. Like, the crime is the highest it's ever been. Ever. How are they going to get more people, enough to go around and shut down? Like, there'll be thousands of these, thousands of them. Only in Melbourne. It's just impossible. They can't do it. It can't be done.
A push to make cigarettes cheaper. None of us actually saw this coming. James, is he serious?
Well, he is, but the reality is that cheaper cigarettes already exist. They're all over Sydney, they're all over Melbourne, they're all over Brisbane, Adelaide, Perth, and the number of tobacconists in this country has grown by thousands in the last 5 years, directly in line with the increase of the tobacco excise, which is now $1.40 per cigarette stick. Now, we know...
Per cigarette stick. Per dozen, mate. Per durry. Per dart. $1.40. That's incredible. So hang on. Think about this, guys. If you're not pissed off at the government enough with what's going on and cost of living and all that in this world, every cigarette you smoke that you buy from a supermarket, you're giving them $1.40. It is deplorable.
What smoking does, we have known for a long period of time how fatal smoking cigarettes can be. But
Hey, I'm going to stop it again. You're giving them $1.40 per cigarette you smoke, which you bought with money, which has already been taxed.
people are not stopping smoking. Instead, they've decided in a cost of living crisis, they can get a pack for $20 illegally rather than a $50 to $60 legal pack. And the tobacco excise has dried up. Even if you don't care about this, taxpayers have lost $42 billion in the last few years, and in the forward estimates, which could build a new road, a massive new road, a new motorway, a new train station, whatever you know, hospitals, schools, you just imagine. So we have lost the war on this, and the only way to get tough, in my view, is to bring in police and start doing widespread enforcements. At the moment, it's left to health bureaucrats. I don't think that's strong enough, clearly.
Yeah, so is Min serious about bringing in the police? Or is he just saying that to the federal government so they'll drop the excise?
I think so. And the thing is, I think it's a bit rich to say the taxpayers have lost money. The government has lost money from overtaxing people in the first place.
Which is us.
63% of the packet of cigarettes is just pure taxes, right?
It's more than that now. It's gone up.
They've been ripping off people for a very long time.
Spot on.
And if only the government put this much effort into actually fixing the illicit drug trade that we have, which costs the government $15 billion a year. So they could actually work on that, save money over there, instead of actually saying to people, you are buying illegal cigarettes like it's the end of the world, when they literally have been forced to because they can't afford it, right? So I think Chris Minns is smart here because he does need the federal government to drop the taxes, and they should have a while ago. But the
spot on, woman of my own heart. They're not going to get her back on. She's dropping too many truth bombs here. So they talk about the taxpayer losing money. Yeah, the taxpayers not losing money. They got more money in their pocket because they're not paying it to the government. The government's lost the money. If anything, taxpayers have saved $42 billion. How stupid is that?
Positioning that they're doing is saying that they're taking this money from the people. No, Government has been taking money from the people.
Yeah.
This sounds like one of those ideas that look good on paper. We'll increase it so people won't be able to afford it, so they'll stop smoking, except they didn't stop smoking, as you said. So the federal treasurer says the excise is there to stop people smoking. How do we sort out this problem? Because people are also vaping, because vapes have nicotine in them.
Correct, yeah.
And vaping's gone through the roof.
And look, it's really complicated because whenever police want to do a raid, if they're seizing vapes or nicotine pouches, they need to bring in the TGA because they're effectively a poison product. So you can't just be going door to door like they did with Al Capone and Elliot Ness in America during prohibition of alcohol. But I understand.
And how did that work? They didn't shut it all down. They might have had some wins here and there. That prohibition doesn't work. Banning things doesn't work. Overtaxing things doesn't work. There are far more people who are willing to break stupid laws or do the wrong thing, in quotes, than there are law enforcement.
I understand what Amanda's saying, but I also really think that the tax only works if you have got rid of people smoking, remove people smoking. And if the smoking rate was right down, we'd say we've won the war. But instead, every time it goes up, another tobacconist opens and the black market flourishes, and you're forcing people to make an illegal choice that they wouldn't make in their normal day life. So it's an absolute mess. But I do really think it has to be a police-led operation. I don't think this is a job for bureaucrats. It's too big, and surely police can be getting involved in this.
Yeah, or is Minns holding the gun to the federal government's head?
Oh, which he does very well because they're on opposite sides, different factions. So I think he is.
Okay, this will be an interesting one to follow. Finally, employers are having...
All right, let's move on. It's so funny because this is something that's being created blatantly by the government, being too greedy. The people are fighting back, pushing back, and you have organised crime profiting in the billions from it. It was such an avoidable thing. Greed. It's getting just too greedy. Greed's actually disgusting, the level of it. If you think about $1.40, it's more than that. I think it's about $1.60 now. They just put them up $3 a pack. $1.50, $1.60. So we're having this problem. Let's just step back. I talked about it earlier on. Let's just think about what's going on here. So I have all these videos we're talking through. It's a huge problem. There's a massive black market. It has to be stopped. It's costing the government billions of dollars, and a taxpayer is not getting their infrastructure. Blah, 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 whatever bullshit they're saying. Yeah, let's just go and put it up even more. Can you help me put those two together that it makes sense? Obviously, what's more important to the government is trying to get more money out of you, the smokers.
Our New South Wales Premier Chris Minns has flagged that using the police to crack down on the illegal tobacco market, while simultaneously calling for the federal government to review the excise on tobacco. It's just become a blame game at this point, Tanya. The black market seems to be flourishing, and yet not much is getting done about it. How do you see this all playing out?
Yeah, look, this has been a problem that I originally raised when I was Shadow Minister for Fair Trading 12 years ago. Back then, they had 12 health complaint officers in all of New South Wales managing the illegal, illicit tobacco trade. Now there's 24.
Wow, doubling.
So it doesn't surprise me that illicit tobacco is absolutely everywhere, particularly in Sydney and in regional New South Wales, and vapes outside schools. School kids are getting them.
Awesome, 24. That's going to do nothing. You can't even monitor one suburb with that.
It costs nothing to get them. Look, yes, you could reduce the tax on excise. I don't know how much of it. I think most of the cost is that tobacco itself, to be honest.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Absolutely wrong. Completely wrong. It's literally 70%.
The reality is you do need police, I would have thought. I think these are drug syndicates, criminal syndicates that are involved in bringing this tobacco in from parts of Asia. I think the AFP should be involved. I think this is a huge, criminal gangs and syndicates that are involved in this. But, if it's just going to be a bit of an argument between the Premier and the Prime Minister over who's responsible, come on, let's just get on top of it and deal with the issue.
Yeah, just a bit of a blame game here. Tina, I want to take you to Victoria because a worrying statistic has come out of the Herald Sun there. Victoria police figures are showing the state is on track to surpass...
All right, let's continue. And one final thing. We'll have to say, well, good old Callum here has to say, I won't watch the whole thing. It's about 5 minutes. However, you just can't deny that the government's overreach has caused this. People are fighting back. Good. I support people going and buying that cigarettes if they're going to smoke instead of going down to the local supermarkets, either supporting those super large corporations and also the government. All it is a tax collection scheme. It's just a levy. All those supermarkets will make $1 or $2 a packet. It's not even worth it. All they're doing is they're, as I said, tax collection agency for the government.
My columns, you will know for years I have been carrying on about the fact that the tobacco excise in this country is way too high. And for years I have been warning that it will lead to a massive illegal tobacco black market. That is exactly what we have now. The latest numbers are that last year 40% of all cigarette sales in this country were of illegal cigarettes. This is a problem created by the federal government because they are the ones who levy the tax, and then the poor old states are left to clean up the mess because, of course, it's the states that have the police forces and enforce the local laws about the sale of tobacco. So the states are saying, for heaven's sake, can you stop sending these illegal tobacco shops to our states? You know, in Victoria, there have been more than 100 fire bombings. It's spreading now to New South Wales, and the New South Wales Premier, Chris Minns, says something must be done about it. He said today we ought to look at reducing the tobacco...
So I'm not going to repeat it, right, because we've heard this now a couple of times through this video. My final closing statement here is the horse is bolted. People are used to spending $8 to $12 on smokes. They're not going back. Even if they go down to $25, they're not going to buy them anymore. Maybe some people will, but most people are going to get their $8 double happiness durries, the Chinese ones. And they could be smoking, who knows what you're smoking. But the cost saving outweighs any health concerns. And think about all the chemicals and shit and all the cigarettes you smoke from the supermarkets anyway. They're making out that they're a less healthier option. I mean, there's healthy cigarettes? I know I've heard people talk about if you smoke like raw tobacco, it is definitely the chemicals that are killing you, and it's not the actual tobacco itself. All right, I'm going to leave it there, guys. If you made it to the end, let me know. Like, comment, and share. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your weekend.